And if you want to be part of our conversation, please let us know, because we're always looking for more people to be on the Peanut Gallery and to be on the show. So other than that, we look forward to seeing you again on another segment of Third Side Convo. Thank you all.
Okay, I just want to say that last part was so funny because me and Cash were dancing and Bob was talking and he wasn't even on camera.
Who wasn't on camera?
Bob.
Bob. He had a big question mark where his face should have been.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It what? It did what?
It had a question mark.
Bob
While
had a
he
big
was
question mark
talking,
where his face
it was
should
a
be.
question mark and me and Cash were just dancing.
Oh, gotcha.
That's the big one where everyone was.
Well,
You don't.
I'm so glad. Hey, Cash, I'm so glad you were on this show. You know, what's funny is you try to do things like this and things happen and you just go with it. You know, I thought you did a great job. You did a great job tonight. You really did.
Cash, do you want to do it again?
Yes.
Did you guys have fun with this?
Side?
Go on your show? Yes.
My side.
Your side? Maybe.
Us working together?
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, it depends on the subject. You know,
Well, but-
this one I was actually surprised you ended up with agreement because you both started with disagreement that you felt, and even Tiberius switched to say he wanted all the books available. A good example, by the way, Tiberius, would be the fact that the video game you've been asking for is Schedule 1 that I don't want you to have. And the reason why I don't want you to have it is because it teaches how to grow weed, how to sell weed, be a drug dealer, and then how to make meth and crack and so forth. And all the friends are wanting to play it. And as a parent, I don't want you to have it. And so some kids have it, some kids don't. Some kids at your school have it, and I'm like, no, I don't want you to have it. And so I'm banning it in my house. Now, if you decide to buy it yourself and do it somewhere else, that's your call, but you cannot have it in my house. And I think that's the thing is where parents need to have some controls of their children until they're 18, and they should be able to choose that. I choose which video games you allowed access to. And so parents want to choose what books that their kids have access to, and that only affects the school library and what the school says you should be reading. It doesn't affect Amazon. It doesn't affect that. A real book ban, look at other countries. They arrest the author and they arrest anyone who has the book. In this case, we're only wanting to remove books from a school library because we don't want our kids brought up and shown materials that are going to make them ask these questions and say, hey, how do I become a drug dealer? This is cool. I saw this cool thing with the drug dealer did all this awesome stuff. And we're promoting all this negative things.
Okay. In that specific context, I would agree. In that specific context, I would agree with that. However, removing books from school libraries becomes a slippery slope to removing them from public libraries, to removing them from bookstores, and so on and so forth. Yes, in other countries, they will arrest the authors. But
the example you gave on removing from a bookstore was the bookstore itself said we didn't want it. And they're a private company. They have the right to do it. Now, Amazon's not going to do that because they want everyone's money. But they have removed books before because Amazon's chosen to do so.
Okay. But to be fair, I have a cousin who used to work in a bookstore, and she was actually put in charge of evaluating what books would be put on the shelves and what would not. This was a situation where a book was already being sold in this bookstore and was actually selling very well until one or two specific customers had formally complained about it, and then they took it off the shelves. So in effect, this is not the bookstore's fault any more than it's the school library's fault that they have the book on their shelves. It is these specific parents who have said, I don't want my child to read this book, take it off the shelf.
But does the company have a right to change their mind and remove a book if they want to?
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean,
absolutely.
That's why Chick-fil-A is never open on Sundays.
Right. I mean, removing it from Borders doesn't remove it from Amazon. Removing it from one store just means you can buy it from another. And a lot of companies are now, when they write books, are putting content in it on purpose to get banned because it brings in sales.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like when you create further and further restrictions and penalties on illegal substances, it's just going to make people want to get them more.
So, Cash, you had fun?
Yes. I was gonna actually say a prime example of that is prohibition. Crime skyrocketed up because everybody wanted to have like beer and alcohol, but it was banned, so they had to like set up little shops, make it illegally, so crime shot up.
Mix it in their
and also
bathtubs.
mob prices
Yeah.
are, like, that's when gangs.
Yeah, it
take
didn't
the
stop
road.
people from drinking, did it?
I actually did a
No.
project on moonshine.
It actually rose.
Hey, did you know, Cash, did you know that that's why they have a thing called cocktails, where you have like bourbon and Coke and stuff like that? The
Yep.
reason cocktails actually started was the illegal liquor that they had in Prohibition was so bad they had to cut it with some drinks, and that's where cocktails came from. It used to be people drank their alcohol straight, but during Prohibition there was so much illegal cheap booze out there that's how they created cocktails, where they actually did a mixer with the alcohol. Not
Rum and Coke is
that,
better.
fun facts. But Prohibition,
know?
that's a great
Bob would
that's a great
certainly know.
analogy to the whole book banning thing. It really is.
How do you know, TV?
Oh, my dad.
Go ahead. Tell your mom how you know all about Prohibition.
Yeah. Hey, I just watched some YouTube videos.
See, now
I'm interested in the topic.
coming back to the subject of marijuana, that actually makes an interesting point, because now, like in states where marijuana is legal, marijuana consumption and distribution has actually gone down.
Yeah.
So it's like, make it legal, watch it go down.
Just don't be like John Morgan.
Oh, yes.
Well, Tiberius, you just killed him as a sponsor.
Well, wow. Oh.
Well, Cash, I'm glad you had fun. I hope you decide you want to come again. And I think that'll be a lot of fun to have you on again.
I'm going to call you on Discord now.
You just need to come up with new topics you want to do. You want to close this out?
Yeah.
You want me to close it out?
Yeah, you close it.
And with that, folks, we are going to go ahead and close out this after party, and we apologize for all the technical difficulties, but hey, at least we got to talk to these guys and see what they think. If you enjoy what we're doing, please like us on Facebook, YouTube, and all that other fun stuff. And thank you so much for watching another episode of Third Side Convo.